Hey, what's up, outies and innies, and welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Apple TV series Severance. My name's Dave, and joining me because he mistakenly assumed it would eradicate from his essence childish folly, my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
Growing up, man. What's
No, this
up,
is the wrong place for
everyone?
that.
Is it?
This is the wrong place for that. We're here to talk episode 6, titled Attila, the Hun. Andrew, we are officially halfway through. Spoiler-free, what did you think?
Yeah, we're definitely getting closer to a big reveal, I feel. I have a lot of guesses that I can't wait to drop, but I think it almost feels like it's moving slow, but it's not at all. It's more like, everything that's happening, you need to watch closely because a lot is being said without words. And yeah, we're learning a lot, especially on the outside world. Not even to talk about the inner world. I feel like I'm enjoying that the outside world is being explored more, and we're getting a lot more threads over there, as well as some Easter egg cameos. Just make this episode a solid one for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a great episode, and like you said, a lot of visual things are happening. So for those people who like to watch with their phones, this might be a 2-episode watch or a 2-time watch.
Got you.
Is your wife listening? Can she hear me
I
right
was
now?
about to say, she knows I'm looking. If you can hear this, honey, comment.
I like what it does with, like you said, allowing actors to kind of act. But also what this episode does is I feel like I need to be taking notes because you have characters playing dual roles, but they're playing the other role on the other side of the other role that they should be playing, talking to the
Yeah,
other version of the other person. I'm like,
yeah.
wait. Who's talking to who now?
Who and whomst are speaking at this moment in time?
Right. And not to speak of the
But
subtext
but
underneath,
but
like,
then
okay,
but then somehow you always know though. I think that's what's
yes,
crazy for me. It's like I'm always like who, but I know. I
yes.
can always like reasonably guess and I'm always correct. And that's how good I guess they portray that person at that time
hmm
or combination
hmm
therein.
Again, it speaks to the great acting that these actors get to kind of showcase,
Mhm,
which for me is one of the huge reasons I watch this show. All right, let's get into full spoilers.
mhm.
I talk about this episode being exploring relationship dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Because we get Dylan and Gretchen dynamics. We
Yeah.
get Bert, Fields, and Irving dynamics. We
Yeah.
get
Literally.
Mark, Innie Mark, and
Yeah.
Helly dynamics. We get
Yeah.
Outie Mark and Helena
And hell.
dynamics.
Hmm.
We get Milkshake and Miss Huang
Yeah.
in a power struggle
Yeah, for
dynamic,
sure.
kind of thing like that. So we get all these kind of back and forth of these characters.
Hmm.
Where do you want to start first?
I mean, let's just do it, man. Helly said, "Look, I need my own." She said, "I need mine. I
That's
need
not
mine."
fair. She got to
She
feel
said,
it. What? No, I like when he's like, "Do you want me to explain what happened?"
and she's like, "No."
My wife was like, "How is that? Like, what is your explanation going to be? How is that
who,
good?"
who is that gonna help? Like,
You-
but she voiced that well. Like, I don't want to have her memory is a great way to explain that.
the fact that like he's going to explain, I don't know if I can trust somebody to explain to me sexual encounter when they start off by saying we shared vessels.
I mean, fair enough.
Like, we shared. She's
Um,
like, what?
uh,
Well, okay, let's backtrack a bit. I like this moment because after last week, the elevator sequence when
yeah.
Milkshake was just like, "Did you her? Did you tell her that you
It's like,
her?"
yeah, come
Hmm,
on.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah.
So he did the smart thing, rather than wait for it to come out and or hover over him as a threat. He just, I'm going to tell her.
Just tell her everything.
And again, I think a CW drama show back in the 2000s would have had this stretch out
Drag
for
this
like the
out.
whole season. Right?
It's
And then
just
not only dragging her finding out, he would want to tell her, and then he would talk to somebody else about telling her, but then she would find out accidentally in a
yeah,
moment where it's like, damn it,
but
he
she,
ruined it.
but
And
she
then
wouldn't
her
bring it up.
finding out, she would then drag out
Nice.
the bickering. I loved how this turns
None of
out
that.
because after having a moment to kind of think on it herself, and I love seeing that moment, right? The shots were beautiful, seeing her in the corner of the room, seeing her walking
Just
around.
sitting,
Exactly.
curled up. Yeah.
And they did a good job of, without dialogue, having us understand she's processing.
Mhm.
her
And
reaction.
still, like I said, and you know that that's heli innate.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't for a second feel like the other one.
No.
I really have to commend them. Like the portrayals, the body movements, the facial expressions, they make it clear to me, at least to a good
Mhm.
degree, that yeah, that was heli innate being like, what is going on here? And I just love that that's her conclusion. She's like, all right,
I liked I
let's do
liked
this
what she
now.
said that, I like when characters understand the position the other person was in,
Mhm.
right? For her to say, who's the real villain? Because again, another show, a lesser show, would have portrayed him as an
Him as the
antagonist to her,
villain. Yeah,
where she understands who's at fault. I
correct.
hate that she did this to us. I hate that
Yeah.
she's trying to put a wedge between us. I hate that she
and
used me to
and she got the good time. Like
exactly.
she took everything from me. Oh,
And then I like when she's like, I want to create my own memories.
mhm.
Would you like that? And as a man, my brain was like, trap, not trap. What do you say?
What do you say? But the only answer is yes.
It's of
And,
course it's yes,
and he
but
answered well.
well, yeah,
I love how he's like, but how?
but how? We'll
She's
figure it
like,
out.
I got you. I got you. This abandoned office tent.
Ah, tent. Perfect. And again, I always love the dialogue between the two of them. I think it's done really, really well, and I like
Mhm,
their moments together. And it even though it was interesting that this was her first sexual encounter, not just with him,
mhm.
but just ever.
Oh, well, mhm,
And this wasn't. You also kind of got that kind of moment of where they're both kind of coming from.
mhm,
But this sexual encounter felt more intimate than the previous one
mhm.
that he's had. So this felt like more of a connection, and I thought they did a
Yeah,
really good job of kind of bringing these two characters together in that way, and again, not dragging out the drama for the sake of it.
yeah. And
But then
I'm
it's interesting to we're jumping a bit to
yeah.
juxtapose that with Outie Mark meeting Outie Helena.
Out to Helena.
What did you think of that moment? Because again, something that my wife and I have talked about often is how, as much as they're separate, there are similarities
Between
to
who?
remind us that it's the
Audi
same
Mark
person.
and Any Mark or Helena?
No, just in terms of Innie and Outie
Or
characters.
both of them. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
exactly.
just
Correct.
people.
For
So
sure.
and we see this throughout the episode, right? Because again, we'll go to that later. But when Irv and Bert meet, right? These are the Outies. It's the Innies that builds relationship.
Yeah.
But when the Outies meet, you still kind of sense the spark,
The chemistry is
the
still
chemistry. It's
existing.
still there.
Yeah.
What did you think of that kind of Chinese dinner meetup?
I don't know, but first of all, she was creeping me out. The way she was just there, like watching him, and he's still there, being shocked that she's there, right, in that
Mm,
restaurant, and she's just like creepily
mm.
smiling, like, "All right, I'll come close to you." I thought it was funny because same thing, right? They had a little bit of chemistry,
Yes.
like they had
Until
some
she
some
says,
quips.
Hannah.
The name wrong.
Yeah.
And guess what? She obviously knows the name, right? She 100% knows the name. So it's like, ma'am, come come on, right? I don't know who she's fooling or who she thinks she's fooling, but that was, I feel like that was the reminder of the moment that, like, still don't trust this lady. Not really sure what's going on here. Like, why is she visiting him with all that's going on? So I'm very curious as to where that's going, but like I'm I'm convinced she's gonna have sextuplets or something. Like she's not had sex with Innie and Audi in the same body. I feel like there's some chemical reaction that the kids are
well,
just gonna be like six of them in her at once.
in previous episodes, we talked about people wanting unsanctioned uh, 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 threesomes
Hmm.
or throuple relationships.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a thing that they've always kind of had to deal with at Lumen. uh,
In any outie relationships.
right. Because it technically counts as a throuple. But what I find interesting with her is, we look at last week's episode, she was kind of following him leaving, and this is a continuation of that.
Yeah.
I think there's a curiosity to her about who Mark is, because she's gotten to know
About
Innie
him.
Mark,
Yeah.
right? She's had sex with Innie Mark.
Yeah.
I think there's a curiosity to be like, what are the
I
similarities
mean,
outside Mark?
fair enough, because it's like that is the guy you slept with. So I
Hmm.
mean, so yeah, I guess my question to you is, so that was purely a personal call. Like
Yes,
she was not
100%.
doing any. That was just more
No, I don't think it
her.
was Lumen stuff. I think
Yeah,
it's her
nothing
stuff.
at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think ultimately with her, you and I thought she might be someone that ends up helping the innies overthrow. I don't
Mhm,
think so much that. I think, we've kind of moved on to thinking that might be Milchek.
mhm,
But I think almost similar to Miss Cobell. She's starting to create her own agenda.
Yeah, and her own path, right? Like
Hmm.
maybe there's a fourth way,
Hmm.
not just a third, right? I
Yeah,
can craft
because
a
she
new
still kind
life.
of doesn't like indies, but hey, if I
Yeah,
can be with Outie Mark, maybe that's
yeah,
different.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because and maybe she mentions Hannah because it's kind of like I don't want you to be thinking about your dead wife right now. Think
Hmm.
of me. Kind of almost trying to throw
Eyes
the
up
name away.
here, buddy. Maybe because that was a little diabolical. Like you
Right?
got that? Like no, no,
There's kind of some
no.
shade. Oh, Hannah. Oh, yeah.
Like yeah, yeah,
Her
yeah.
name.
Nah, come on.
Like we know, you know. Um, all right, let's go to Bert and Irvin Fields. This whole interaction left me with thinking, I don't know if Outie Bert is, and like he says, you know, when he's like, yeah, my younger days, I was up to a lot of no good to the point where
Hmm.
he believes he's going to hell.
Yeah,
I kind of
like
believe
that,
that.
but
He felt creepy. Usually Bert is like this nice guy we all liked, loved,
yeah,
but there was a creepiness to him here.
this one, yeah, completely.
So let's rewind. What do you think of the whole dinner scene and how great was it seeing our favorite
Walter,
Walter Fringe
Walter
Bishop?
Senior.
You know, I feel like we have an obligation to promote Fringe any
Every
opportunities we
time,
get.
anytime possible.
And I
Fringe,
think
watch it.
I think Adam Scott has the same feelings because this is the second time he's in a show that references Fringe. Well, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
reference it. This is an indirect reference. But you
Yeah.
know, for those of you who watch Parks and Rec, just search Parks and Rec Fringe on YouTube, and you know why Fringe is the perfect show. But how did you feel seeing Walton? How did you feel his character in in this episode?
My wife was here with me screaming, Walter, Walter Senior. Yeah, such a good time. So happy to see him and his demeanor, everything. But anyways, him him as a person aside, his character just wait, just his comment with the wine, you know, that whole scene. I mean, I was cracking up. Just like he was so open and so direct.
Right? They threw
Yeah,
blood on me. That wasn't blood.
like,
It was wine.
the
Well, it was supposed to
wine.
be blood. Well, you didn't say that.
Like he's so like I love seeing when old people act immature because it's like come on, you're like what 60, 70, 80. I mean you have no business acting that childish and immature,
Right.
but at the same time, approach aside, he made some points, he oh,
Did you
yeah,
guys fuck?
yeah, exactly. even though even though you don't know, right? Because he was like, did he say, I hope you did? Like, it would have
No,
been
he goes,
amazing.
there's a zero sum chance you two had unprotected sex,
Yeah.
and I have the right to know.
like, fair enough. And then literally the two of them just like, I themselves almost
Right.
the whole time, right? Without saying anything. But that's such a funny, awkward scene. And I wonder where that goes. Like, that's not the end. Because when Irv was leaving, the flirting even like doubled.
I'd like the three of us to hang out. Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes just the two of us.
The two of us, like, oh, like, wait, like we're doing this right here, like I'm still in the house.
Right?
You're filthy, you filthy animal.
But
No,
don't stop. I like it.
exactly. Or actually, stop, stop. I love it. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be a weird one. But the thing that you said, which is the timing of this event and this break-in,
Mr. Drummond
uh,
breaking into Irving's house. I don't know.
it's
And then remember, you know, we kind of saw it more as more innocent, but every time Irving was making a phone call, at least what we saw, Bert was watching him. And then we know that
Mhm.
Irving's been outie Irving's been up to
Yeah,
something in terms of trying to
for a
uncover
while.
the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe Lumen knows this. And then on top of that, oh yeah, 12 years ago,
No,
10
20
years ago,
years.
no, 20.
20.
No, that company didn't exist 20 years
20
ago.
years
Shut
back.
up, shut up. Keep our secrets away. You know,
Yeah,
that's
oops.
how I felt that was.
He's
And
like,
so that makes me
huh?
ask the question, because you know, it is one of those things where it's like someone like everyone that we know, at least, that has joined Lumen, has severed,
Hmm.
has done it for because you've tried everything else, and this is your
Yeah,
last chance.
like avoiding some grief
Avoiding a
or
grief,
something.
avoiding the fact that you can't get a good job, avoiding some
Hmm.
kind of avoidance. You don't want to
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But doesn't seem the type to be severed. Like until then we realize the story. Oh well, yes, we thought if he got severed, his severed half will go to heaven with me, and then this one will go to hell, which I kind of thought was kind of selfish on Field's part,
That's such a like weird cop out.
right?
I'm like, what?
You will go to hell. The person I'm spending my whole life would go to hell. I will go to heaven, I know for a fact, with
Mm,
your severed self, who I don't
yeah,
really know. But hey, at least I get to have you with me. Yay.
a version of you, but like it's really just your body.
Right.
Huh?
I was like, oh. And
The
then on top of
church's
that,
view on on the severed is that they have souls. I'm like,
right, the independence, which again, when he says, oh, the pastor had the message that day as if he was
mm,
listening to our conversation,
yeah,
there's a part to me that's like, I think Bert is more involved with Lumen than we realize and
same,
use those methods to kind of convince his partner why he should be doing this.
yeah, maybe,
There's a manipulation going on. And I think Fields is on a subconscious level aware of the manipulation. That's why Fields acts out and try to tell themselves, this is okay, drink more, drink
yeah,
more, drink
drink
more.
more wine.
you know, and I don't know. What do you think of my theory of that Bert isn't as trustworthy as we want him to be?
It would definitely make sense. One with the timing of Drummond, breaking into Irving's place, the shadiness of it all, just him retiring in the way that he did. I just feel like there's a lot more. I still don't know what he got up to at what was the department? The O what? O and D.
Andy,
O
Andy.
and D, right? Yeah, like I don't know that I've ever. I still have to go back and really watch those scenes of the paintings. Like
Hmm.
I still don't know what he was about, even as an innie.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I definitely feel like his husband Fields knows a lot more than Bert wants him to share. But I feel like we're gonna slowly uncover more. Like that's not this is the beginning, not the end of an affair, clearly. But the question is how deeply connected with Lumen is he? Right? Is really what it comes down to. Because I still even Lumen, I keep pointing out to myself that I haven't seen more staff now than Drummond, Drummond and Helly outside, right? At least in this sector. I'm not talking about other locations, right? But like in this area, it's not like we see other like background staff or anything, right? So maybe they do have more spies like Bert's, right? That they've placed around because it would kind of help just maintain an order. Because other than that, I'm really wondering like, are they short staffed or is this an intentional thing? You know.
Yeah, and it for me, it just comes back to the whole kind of disparity between time. Oh yeah, we met 10 years
Mhm.
ago, 20 years ago, and then the idea of this religion thing, because a lot of what Lumen is doing has sometimes been made to be like a religion, right?
A thought of it
And
in a sense.
I don't know that the church would be like, yes, we believe that innies also have their own soul. I feel the church would be
It
against
seems
this.
like a stretch to be honest. As a church goer, I feel like church is like, wait, you mean you man, you intentionally went to do this to
Exactly.
somebody's brain to create another person?
Hmm.
No, no,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I feel like the church would be completely
That's
against it,
nah, that's you know what? Worst case, I feel like they'd be like, listen, both of y'all,
right?
both of y'all going down there together,
Which brings you to the
or
question
up
of,
together.
regardless of our assumptions of whether or not Bert is good or not, well, is who he says he is.
Hmm.
The very thing we've admitted is that he did bad. Like, how bad
Would you do
stuff did
so
he
for
do?
you to sever yourself to believe that your severed self is the one that will now go to heaven?
And
Like,
you are destined for hell. Like, what did
I'm
you
sorry,
murder people? Like, what did you
it's
do?
giving PDD. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just like, that's- I really can't imagine. Nor do I want to.
I like the part when he talked about it. Initially, telling them about the how he got severed. He's like, "We're guided to Luna's door by Jesus," and I was like,
Jesus Christ.
"Christ." And then Fields is like,
It's a
you
subtle
should just leave
sin.
it at that and let him wonder what the hell you meant."
It's a subtlety. Great acting from Irving there. He's really like
Like,
I mean
what?
like
What? Well, I think that scene is done really well. Like, if you're someone who suffers from secondhand embarrassment,
embarrassment for people.
right? When you watch something, my wife is like that. She sees something like embarrassing on TV. She's like, "Oh
Yeah,
my God, turn it off. I can't watch."
yeah.
I feel like that scene did a great job of that because
Mhm.
I like when he's like, "Oh, Irv is looking for the exit." I think Irv did a great job of kind of portraying, or John Turturro, I should say, of
No.
portraying this kind of person that's just like feeling awkward. Should I leave? Because that was a very, I would have
Yeah.
left. I don't know if I said to, I don't care how much I like you, how much I think you're cute.
Yeah.
I don't really
It's,
know
it's,
you
it's like it's a restaurant.
at
We're
this
not
point.
splitting in the bill. I'll just be like, listen, thank you guys. I don't know what's going on here. I apologize for coming and knocking on the first day.
Clearly, you guys are going through something,
My bad. That's this on me.
right?
This on me. Bye.
I'll take the ham though.
Yeah.
Thanks. To our relationships, let's talk about Dylan and Gretchen. Earlier on,
Dylan.
Dylan tells the fellow innies,
Dylan Inni.
Dylan Innie, he tells fellow
Mhm.
innies, Helly and Mark, about the message that Irv left, the hanging there, and
Like,
they want to get. He's like, nope,
why did you leave it, dude?
because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Like, okay,
He
Ellie,
wants
like,
to go.
I'll grab it. I was like, that's my
That's
Ellie.
Helly.
That's
He's like, I'll
Ellie.
get it. I don't care.
Like,
Fuck.
there she is.
Did everyone sever their balls or something when I was out? Oh, like that is definitely
Oh,
definitely Ellie. Helly. But this is why Dylan does it because again, he doesn't want to lose out on his privileges of meeting his
of
outie's wife.
getting some smooch.
Right?
Is out
Right?
his wife.
I love when she's telling him about his outie, all the things he's done, and he's like, "Oh wow, he must be doing all sorts of stuff."
So. Dylan, so he's so good.
I love it because he does a good job of just as much as he can be annoying and mouthy. He's got an
Yeah,
innocence to him where you just can't help like, "Aw, he's so cute. He doesn't even know."
yeah.
And even when he asks for the hug, I like, "Aw, ask for the hug."
No, thank.
But like we spoke about before, Gretchen, she's falling. She
Yeah,
one, she lies to
yeah.
the outside Dylan. And on top of that, she kind of slips up because before she talked about it being the same
Yes,
person.
sir.
Then she said, him, you. What do you think is this
Mm-hmm.
is going with Gretchen and
Yeah, yeah.
Innie Dylan?
It's funny because she was like, yeah, no, they canceled the appointment. And Dylan Audi is like, oh. Even the long pause before she answered was
Mhm.
just giving sketch, right? And this coupled with Dylan Inney being like, I wish we could be together for real. And
All the
what
time.
did she say? She was like, isn't this like for real? And then he's like, come on, sis.
Mm.
Obviously, no. Don't be
Like
silly.
all the time.
Don't be silly. You know what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, so we've been seeing this thread brewing, right? I feel because Dylan is even. I was reminding myself that he's even working hard on the inside because she basically told him that he's the breadwinner essentially for their family, right? So I feel like he's now, which is an interesting philosophical thread, right? Like the innie now wants to reap some of the benefits of the work that the innie is doing
Mhm.
because the Audis made the innies to do work and they essentially reap the rewards.
Mhm.
But now the workers are like, okay, I mean, can I get
Let me get something.
could I get and what would be interesting, right? I feel like they may start to do like how you get like 30 days of vacation a year for work.
Mm,
So maybe they start to give you fine. You get 30 days in your Audi's body
mm.
per year or something like that. I feel like that would be an interesting way to kind of extend the idea of the innies coming to the outside world without having to kill the outsider completely per se. So I don't know. There's some interesting things I think they could do with that. But what about you?
You say that, and I started thinking, what about the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if this is something that bites Lumen in the butt,
Mm-hmm.
and this leads to more problems where they realize we can't do this ever again? Because it depends on how Gretchen reacts,
Yeah.
right? Do they try and do something does she try and do something that ends up messing things up for Lumen? Or, like, I don't know what that could look like,
Yeah.
right? Trying to
Mhm.
sneak, Dylan out or do
Dylan out.
something,
I think she might.
on
Yeah.
that level.
Mhm.
Or, or this is what crazy, crazy, crazy. We don't know what she does for work.
We actually don't.
What if she's also Lumen, some level of Lumen employee, and that's why, you know, he gets to do this? Because why does he get special privileges?
I figured because he was the only one, at least in this group, he's the only one that has a spouse. And
True.
Lumen is looking for any tool they can use to control you. And that's a great one. But it would still be interesting because yeah, her occupation has been kept a little ambiguous to us. And I feel like its reveal will have an impact, though I
Hmm.
don't know what that impact will
Hmm.
be just yet.
Agreed, agreed. I'm not sure where it'll go, but I think, yeah, I think she will take actions
Hmm.
to try and get closer to this Dylan,
Yeah, I mean, they were here
right?
smooching.
Right, and then
Now
lying to
she's
her
there
husband.
lying to her husband, the
Mhm,
father of her kids.
Well, Dylan's also the father of the kids, technically.
It's just such
Is
an interesting crossover.
right. This is an interesting how this because this that like is it cheating? I mean, it is, but
Hmm.
it isn't.
Hmm. That's why like, this episode was very focused on like crossing this outer and innie relationships, as you pointed out.
Mhm,
But it's funny to see because I feel like yeah, Dylan's gonna do anything he can to get a taste of seeing his kids and having that's an outside experience, and I feel like they'll somehow get there.
mhm. Um, let's backtrack a bit. We talk about Mr. Drummond breaking into Irving's house at the
Mm-hmm.
same time as Irving's visiting Bert. We don't
Mm-hmm.
think that's just a mere coincidence, but we'll find out.
No.
But you know, I'm sure you're like me. Did you pause at all the names that he was looking through? I was like, what can I recognize? I thought there might be a name of someone that we didn't know was severed, and we now find out that they're severed. But it seems like not only does he find out that Irv is keeping a list of employees, there's one particular page he kind of stays on and kind of has a reaction. I couldn't
Mhm.
figure out why he has a reaction,
Yeah.
but did you also acknowledge that he had a reaction?
I did, but I don't know what, and I
Mhm,
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if the reaction was like, "Oh, he's keeping a list," or the reaction was, "Oh, he has the name of this guy," right?
mhm,
I have no inclination as to what the direction of the reaction is, but it didn't feel. I feel like them showing us that wasn't just a, "Oh, he found a piece of paper of
yeah,
names." That
yeah.
no, it's more like a, he knows too much.
Yes, exactly.
Oops,
He
oops,
knows
oops.
too much. His investigation has gone
Like,
further than we thought.
yeah, it's almost like seeing the list of the X-Men, right? Like the
Mm,
first film, you're like, yep, yep, he got them all. All right,
right.
he's on to something. We we gotta kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's gonna be interesting. What the repercussion of that is. But you see, so this is my point. Um, Again, good. He gets his hands dirty, but like, it's like there aren't a lot of minions. There aren't a lot of like foot
True.
soldiers. This is like invincible for those of you watchers, and the Viltrumites kind of being whittled down. It's like I'm suspecting Lumen. Their staff strength isn't that much.
But also, maybe part of that is keeping the circle of information small.
Fair,
You
which
know.
I'm sure is very key
Yeah.
in what they do, right? But I guess the point I guess is still similar then. It's just like there aren't that many. If the Innis were to revolt and somehow get a foothold, I feel like it would things could topple quickly.
Um, in terms of toppling, let's talk to Mr. Milkshake. He's one of those people that I guess he takes criticism very personally.
Hmm.
And he's just like, fine. You want me to do something about it? You want me to do something about it?
I
Fine.
will paperclip 500 pieces of paper till my hands shake.
He's telling Miss Wang. At first, I thought when he told Miss Wang, that I love that meeting together. Basically, first telling Miss Wang, I know it was you.
Yeah,
Look at me. Look at me.
yeah,
Look at me.
yeah.
I know it was you.
Eyes up here.
I know.
And he's still here. It's just funny because wait, when he said at first to her, "You must eradicate from your essence childish folly," was that intentionally using big words, or was that him using a big word and right after that being like, "Yeah, that now I have to summarize."
I think it's the latter. I think when he says it to her,
Hmm.
it's just him being his natural self.
Yeah, and he's even he heard it back like, "Oh,
It's like, oh, that's what they meant.
that's that shit you were talking about, huh? Okay, okay." Because that scene is so memorable for me. It's going up there in TV show highlights. Just him in the mirror, whittling down.
Mhm.
You must eradicate. You must abandon childish things. You must grow up. Grow up. Grow. I was waiting for the grr. And the
Grr,
g.
grr.
uh,
That was great
so
tense acting,
powerful. Hmm.
right? You understand his thinking process. You understand what he's feeling. I love when he says to Miss Wang, like, you will take over, or you will be
Yeah,
leading things now. And she thought it meant taking his seat
yeah.
from
He's
your.
like, He's like a regular chair, please.
Please.
Please, please,
Not from
please.
here, from your desk. Okay.
He's like, don't forget you need me, girl, to
Right. Speaking
to
of,
bring past this.
you cannot graduate from this fellowship until I have deemed you wintertide material.
Like,
What is wintertide
what winter
material to
tide
you?
material? But I
Is
mean, not her right now with the way she's acting.
so is this some kind of internship for her to graduate to the next level, being
I,
wintertide?
I think so because if I'm not misreading things, because she goes to the school that Miss Cobell went to or something.
Mhm.
There's a school that they confirmed that she's from, so we know she's not seven, and we know she's from there above. So she's clearly a child. That part they're not. At least as far as I know, it's not like she's an old person in a child. I think. So I think even if she is, she still has to yes be promoted to a level where she has more autonomy, right? Like look at. I mean, Milkchick was under Miss Cobell before as well, right? It's not easy to get to the top. Let's not all underestimate his rise. So she's definitely in like a, even if not an internship, like a junior level, right? And it's probably one of those where your senior manager has to pull you up. It's not that you don't just go apply to promotion. This isn't one of those type of companies, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of connections. I'm still wondering because there's so many theories I read. And one involves her being the child of
Young
that
version,
lady. Yeah, which
or
one?
I've read one where it's like she's a clone of Gemma
Wow, that would be
because
crazy.
they're testing out clones that are not fully grown but
So,
that age up.
yeah.
But then that could just be a racist comment because
It
that's where
could
that comes
be
from.
because that would be wow something. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I love the scene just because since last episode, this tension has been brewing
It's almost
with
like a kind of
Milkshake
power
and
struggle,
Huang.
like almost like
Hmm.
she wants to leapfrog him.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
he's
can do your job,
he's like he's like you're like so many years too early for this. Don't.
and my decisions have weight onto what happens to you,
Mhm. Yeah,
right? I have to sign off. So
yeah.
you better
Me.
me.
Yeah. So you kiss the ring or else basically, right? But let's see because I don't know if she doesn't seem like the kind to just now get in line per se,
No.
right? She's still gonna be like
No, of
poking him
course.
like a porcupine, be like a porcupine in his side, but
Hmm.
she's also not stupid, like she'll do her job.
Hmm.
But I feel like eventually whenever we hear her play her instrument that she's not been able to play, I feel like that day is gonna be something. Just mark my words.
I liked, after the sexy time when any Mark starts bleeding
Hmm.
and then they go
Like,
to
come
Miss Huang and she's like looking at her like, did you punch him?
on.
And she's like, not today.
Good response.
And
And
she's
even
like,
her questions were spot on. And
do
Mark's
you have
like,
a
no.
deviated septum? I
He's
don't know
like,
what
I
that
don't
is.
know.
Those little moments are great ways to kind of remind us of the limited knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Like, sorry.
Speaking of, that gave us a great, fantastic transition, right? When Mark transitions from innie to outside, because usually when we get those kind of transitions, we get the flashes of in and out,
Yeah, yeah.
but the positions of objects in both spaces,
No,
like
we're perfectly
tables,
like,
chairs,
yeah.
were like both. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I love seeing that. So let's take us to
No,
Mark and
market,
Ragabi.
market.
Their story starts off from last week's episode after Mark sees Gemma in the end of last week's episode, and he's telling her about that. I love their conversation about the stages of grief, bargaining. When he talks about
Mm-hmm.
bargaining, it's like, I might get to have this. It might
Mm-hmm.
actually happen itself. Um, After getting annoyed about through the process, and then that meeting with Helena, he comes back as like, all right, do it.
Let's go. Yeah.
What did you think of the
I
process and
wonder,
the hole in the
wonder,
head?
I wonder what was the trigger? Was it just seeing Helena and realizing that
I think the trigger was,
he's like, I need to know more, man. He's like, I don't know enough about everything in this world of mine. Why is she visiting me?
but I think the trigger is also because again, this is a man still grieving his wife, right? He finds himself, I mean, he doesn't understand why, unintentionally flirting with Helena
Mm-hmm.
until she brings up his dead wife name incorrectly.
The wrong name.
And I think that's a trigger of I'm losing focus. What the I'm just
Yeah,
trying to find
no,
my wife.
you're
Uh,
right. Fair
I
enough.
think I think that's kind of the trigger of like, no, we have to
Yeah,
do this. And also,
yeah.
he's not hungry anymore. He ate all that bunch.
That's actually the better answer because I was my half the time when let's say I'm writing code and things are going wrong, I either know if I need to pee or eat. It's like often one of the two things. Like sometimes just just take a breath. So I feel like you're right. His food's digested, and he's like, Why was I so upset before? I'm so
Right?
I'm so sorry.
Like the Snickers commercial goes, "You're not you when you're
You're
hungry."
not you when you're hungry.
Yeah, you're getting hungry. You know, you just have
Have a Snickers. Great
to.
ad. That's so
But
funny.
what did you think of the procedure? Because she has to flood the the the
The chip.
the
She
chip,
floods the chip with
and then
that liquid.
little things like she's like, "Oh, to the hole you already have in your head." I'm like, "Oh yeah, they do have holes in their head, don't they?"
But see, I mean, she backs up what she says because I mean, slight chance of a hemorrhage because that's what upset him at
Right.
first. That's what made him storm out, minus the hunger. She was like, yeah, a slight chance of hemorrhage, and he was like, what? Me, my brain bleed? And she's like, probably not. And he's like, and then he freaks out and leaves, right? But no, I love the procedure. The procedure. I was tense during. Just I was like, "Come on, girl!" It's like that game,
Right.
the kids
What's
game.
it?
Operator. Is that what it's
Operation. Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Operation. Yeah, like come on, girl,
Oh, have you seen the other one?
don't
Remember
lose
when we were younger, where if you touch it, you get like a shock.
shock, like a little static.
Yeah.
So she did well, good procedure. I love that. Even me, I love these shows because they make me think think like as if I really know the specific science. Like I'm like, yeah, that should work. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
flooding the chip
No, but
sounds about
I
right.
bet
I'm like, what is
you.
that fine for the brain? Like, what are you flooding it with? But let's keep that to the
But even
side.
things like, because again, for those of us who are experts in biology, I was like, how long is that needle?
Mm-mm.
Like, what?
The-
It's going forever. How deep is the brain?
yeah, even when she pulled it out, right? Like it's just like,
It's like, slowly. Ah.
you know,
And then, of course, Dylan had to arrive. I was like, don't answer the door.
don't. No,
I
but
don't
he
care
had
if you
to
think your
because
car's there.
she saw the car.
Whatever. She keep knocking the door. Let her think that I'm ignoring her.
Yeah, and
Because
then
Vagabi's
leave,
like, don't move your head. And we find out what happens when he moves his head. There's a
and it
part of me
starts
that was just like,
foaming at the
Dylan,
mouth.
you couldn't try catching him. Like, you know.
Like, like you already seen him, seen him look a little woozy. If you were looking and if you looked anywhere near his face, you could tell that that's not the person that should be standing.
Yeah. He looked like he had a 500-degree fever.
Literally, his eye, everything. He literally looked terrible. So like, ma'am, come on, help her. But
But I did like, that's such a brother sister dynamic. Because he's just like, I'm doing it myself, leave. And she's like, well, fuck you. Oh,
yeah,
like, it's like,
like, what do you mean leave? Like,
and when Ragabi shows up, he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, just instantly, like, not realizing. But I'm getting a sense that Dylan's not going to be pulled into this mission. What do you think?
yeah, I want her to be she was the one that she heard from Mark Innie. She saw Mark Audi, even when he was gaslighting them that it wasn't Miss Casey that was alive, it was the child. But I don't want her. I don't want her to just be pushed to the side, with that information. Even the snippet they showed of her and her husband who wrote the book, whose name has escaped me.
Oh,
Um,
starts with
the
R. Rickon.
Ricken, exactly. Even that interaction, right? I feel like it's all leading somewhere. One thing I like about this world is that for somewhere or another, each person has an interaction with Lumen. Either you are severed, or you know a severed person, or you're debating severed rights, or even the church discusses it. Like I just like that it's a wide known topic and something that influences the entire sphere of this world. Not It's not happening in a silo. Another nod to something we review you should listen to. So it's just funny to see what the effects are overall and where that leads to. Because yeah, we're nearing the end of this season, and I'm now asking myself, as we draw near conclusion, is are we getting Miss Casey soon? Like, is this going to be a full tease to the end, or is it gonna spill into next season?
That is the question. That is, or at least one of the many questions that we have going
Uh-huh.
on, because it doesn't speak to the larger particulars of what Lumen does and why they're doing it, and what we're 80. Last we saw 80 something percent complete for Cold Harbor. What happens at 100%? Yeah, and I get reminders that the events of the end of last season and right now are like a week apart. something like
Yeah, right. Like it's not like it's been so long. It's literally, and just inside of my mind, it's like, where's Miss Cobell? I'm literally waiting for her. And they just have a wild card, like a
Yep.
joker, that
Yep.
they can throw in at any time. So just stay tuned.
I
She's
think she's gonna
nearby.
come in guns blazing. However
Yeah,
she
I
comes, it won't be
agree.
quiet.
No, it's like she's gonna come with like an army behind
Right.
her.
Right. It should come with like OG Lumen people
Hmm.
who are like,
Hmm.
you guys have changed this company. Like, cause
Hmm.
she's like
Hmm.
the super hardcore juice
Yeah.
drinking. Like she has the juice recipe
Yep.
at this point. Right. Any mini moments that you like that we haven't spoken about or touched on?
When in the beginning, when Dylan was telling them about the poster,
Hmm.
and he was scared to get it, and Helly was like, "You said it's behind the poster of you actually being brave." it's just, it's just such a nice little line. Dylan saying, "I want to hear about my offspring and stare at your face," and then his wife just like those were flirting hardcore.
Right. Find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch for some of your theories. You can also find us an email, thenerdybunchpod@gmail.com. Also, check out some of our other podcasts. We are currently doing Invincible. We just
Yes,
finished Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which I will say from top to bottom, absolutely fantastic. Check out that show
great,
if you're not
great
watching it
stuff.
already. I thought it was further away, Andrew, but no, in 2 weeks, we have Daredevil Reborn. Yes, so I'm currently revisiting the original Daredevil, so join us in that if you want to. But we will be reviewing Daredevil Reborn every week when that airs,
Yep.
and Raven will be joining us. Yes. Anyway, on that note, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review of Severance Season 2, Episode 6. And we are curious to see where this all goes. Until then, I'm going to sever myself so I can instantly be back for the next episode. And as always, Andrew,
Keep it nerdy.
peace.